I love it when I'm talking for 20 minutes and I look up and I'm muted. Trustee Matz, how are you?
I am better than good, sir. Apparently, you are the only one on here other than me that they wouldn't let you
No,
know
nobody's on
that
here right now except you.
they wouldn't let you know that you were muted. I mean, you were just going in. I'm like,
Oh, I was. So listen, I was going in and it wasn't really anything that was impactful. However, I mean, I love it when I'm going in for 15, 20 minutes only to find out. It's kind of like talking on your cell phone, right? And you really got this real deep topic and you really think that the person is listening. And then it's so silent that you say, hello? Hello?
the call dropped.
The call dropped, right? So that's kind of how I'm feeling today. Today is the last day. If you don't know, today is the last day. We talked about it. You weren't here last week, I don't believe, but we talked about it, that today is the last day for those individuals that are running under whatever the established slate is in your respective community. So it could be Democrat, it could be Republican, it could be whatever party that was the one that won in the last election. Today is the last day. So any surprises that you checked to see if anybody turned in any petitions early over in your neck of the woods?
Have not.
Yeah, well, tomorrow is the day. So it's so weird. The more I do this, the less I'm, I'm pressed by it, right? I don't feel like, oh my God, I gotta hurry up and get there, because if I don't get there, oh my God. I wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow I go up there. I will get the petitions of those people that submitted their petitions, and I will find out who's running. Whoever's running is running, and that's the way it is. But I remember, and Cassandra, you may not remember this. I mean, you've been around a little bit of time, and I think that I may have been on your F list at that time. I wasn't on your FU list. I may have been.
Nobody's ever on that list.
Huh?
Nobody's ever on that list. I don't have
on the F list or the FU list.
Yeah, I don't have a list.
Right. Well, for the sake of this argument, I don't know if I was on the F list or the FU, but I was on a list. Okay. And in this particular year, I don't know if you recall, but this particular year, I was actually running. I was running for mayor, and I decided, me and the people that I was running with, and this may jog your memory a little bit, but I was running with a couple of people, some of them and I was running under the Democratic umbrella, right? So I was running as a Democrat, and my slate of candidates was running under the Democratic umbrella, and I caught so much drama. Some of the people in Glenwood, because they didn't know that you could do this, right? They didn't know that you could run. You didn't have to run as an independent. You could run as
I thought there is a resident number, like you have to have so many people in the community in order for you to run like that, Democrat or Republican.
No, there isn't. There isn't. Most communities have adopted one way or another, but there's no science to it, right? Like if you look at communities like Dalton, for instance, most of the people in Dalton generally run as Democrats. They run as a Democrat. They run as a part of the established party. So you get the primary in February. So whoever wins in February generally wins in April, because they all run as Democrats. Now, what would be interesting if one of those Democrats decided to run as an independent, right? If they decided, okay, I'm not going to run as a Democrat, I'm going to run as the Greater Dalton Party, right? Or Dalton's Home Rule Party or whatever. If they decided to do that, then in February, they would not be in that election, and they would just automatically go to the consolidated election in the month of April. And at that time, the voters would choose between a Democrat or the independent party that's running at that particular time. But so there's ways, and like for me, because Trustee Matt, there was a reason why I did it, right? There was a reason why I did it. I did it because over the course of the years, I have been challenged, right? I have been challenged for my position on the ballot, and being a kind of a new person in this respective, field, politics. Until you run for office, you really can't even fully appreciate the amount of webs and entanglements and just trickery that's used. So once you see how the system is actually a lot of times is used to, remove candidates from the ballot, then you find creative ways to ensure that you remain on the ballot. So for me, it was running as a Democrat, and I caught so much hell doing it, Trustee Matz. I caught so much flack because some of the mature people, I'm saying mature people in the town that didn't realize that you could do this, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They labeled me old Slick Willie. That's what they labeled me. Slick Willie, his whole city slicker. He didn't brought, that's what they were calling me, you know what I mean? And at that particular time, I think Octavia was running with me. It was I just had a messy slate. And then by the time I had the mature people in the town calling me Slick Willie, they had almost made my decision to run as a Democrat, they almost made it criminal, right? It had just, legs of it had just taken, I was like, oh my God. Oh, he pulled a fast one. Oh, it was just, everybody was just up in arms because I decided to run as a Democrat. But what's interesting, just to bring all this home, is that since I've done that, do you know that every election they've done it?
Well, you set the bar high, and they were like, well,
every election they have done it. Every election they have, since then, every election they have turned in petitions. The last time they did it, I didn't even check the signatures until it was too late, because I just wasn't even, well, let me just be honest. I thought after they gave me drama for doing it, I was like, I know they wouldn't do it because, they gave me so much flack.
Yeah, well, nothing like agreement.
Yeah, they would never use this tactic to do it. They would never do it. That's what I thought. And since then, they've done it every time. So I'm pretty certain that they did it this time, right? And they're counting on individuals like myself, yourself, individuals like us who aren't used to the tricks of the trade to not go down there to the village hall because you only got a window to challenge.
Okay, right.
So so tomorrow starts the challenging point. Now today, if I had the energy, I was going to go to the village hall, but I was like, I just wait till tomorrow. It's no big deal. The number of signatures that they needed to run in these little local elections, the number is so small.
Minuscule. So you're saying you're turning yours in tomorrow?
No, I'm not doing mine until next to the 14th.
Right.
But if I had a run under the party that won, or ran under the umbrella of a Democrat or a Republican or whatever, I could have turned them in. Today would have been the last day.
Yeah. I also saw in Cranes that, the infamous Ed Burke is not running.
Yeah, so I was reading that. And so Ed Burke, 54 years, he decided that he was not going to, you know what, can I just be honest with you? I thought that he was already done. You know what I mean?
The indictment.
I know that he still was a consideration.
Yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, that indictment hasn't done anything to put a dent in him not living his life to the fullest. So why not?
You know what? So what does a guy like Ed Burke do? Okay. Now that he's not running, this is what he's known. And it's not just him as the mannequin. What do they do after they spent so much of their life entrenched in this particular arena? What happens now? And is that partly reason why the Democratic Party is kind of having a civil war. Is it the Ed Burks and what's that other fella's name? What's the fella's name? What's his name? The guy, the Godfather guy. What is his name?
Madigan.
Madigan, yes. Are they the two? Are they the reason why the Democratic Party right now is all, is kind of having this underground civil war? Is it because they were kind of the leaders of the pack?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, nobody bucked the system when it came to Madigan. Everybody kissed the ring. Everybody bowed down. He had total control all these years. But back to Ed Burke, his wife stepped down as Supreme Court Justice. We never even put the two together. Now, you would put somebody else together if your husband was being indicted and you sitting on the highest court of Illinois land. You would try to drag her into it, but nobody touched her. She stepped down. She retired. So I guess they're just going to go off into retirement bliss.
Well, let me tell you what they're going to do. They're going to move to Florida. Okay. And that's what's and I'm just going to be honest with you. They're going to move to Florida. They're going to probably support, the Trump machine or those individuals in the Trump machine, probably live at some place kind of in a senior result, take advantage of all of the senior discounts that you get. They're going to go to Florida, they're going to have a beach shirt, and they're going to talk about how corrupt Chicago is. This is the thing that drives me absolutely insane, because the individuals will sit down there, they will they've been throwing rocks, but then they'll move down to Florida or one of those warmer, Arizona, and they'll talk about politics, right? They'll talk about it almost as if they weren't a part of the reason why we're in this disastrous situation. So Ed Burke, his wife, they probably got very good money, some good pensions and so on and so forth. Even Madigan, they're all going to do very well. His lawyers are still doing very well. They're going to go down, they're going to live in some sort of senior camp, and they're going to live happily ever after. That's just the way it is, right?
Is Florida a state no personal income tax?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there you go. They either going there or they going to Dallas.
And that's what generally happens. And again, that's the con, right? We sit around and we all it's all very deliberate. These individuals exploit, just like the individuals that in my humble opinion, I know I'm probably going to take some flack on this, but the individuals that work in Illinois but then run over there across the border to Indiana. It's kind of insulting, right? Because you talk about, you're part of the problem, right? You're the reason why the streets are crowded. You're the reason why the train is busier. You're the reason why we got many potholes. You use up all of our service. You really pay very little in terms of income tax here in the city of Chicago. But then you go back and talk about how ghetto and everyone is. I'm just over it. I wish somebody was smart enough to charge a tax for out-of-staters. But in any event, if you think that the grass is greener on the other side, hit them with a tax, okay? And run and tell them that. That's what I would do. Nice. And some of those candidates, you got 23. How many people are running for mayor?
15.
So you got 15 people running for mayor in the city of Chicago. 15 folks running to mayor. I don't believe, and I've heard it, and I'm going to go out there. I don't think Chewy is just a given. I don't think that he's just going to be by default going to win. I don't believe it.
He thinks so. He's throwing his hat in the race.
Well, yeah. Well, everybody is throwing their hats in the race. But I mean, you got 15 people. I think that when Jesse Jackson Jr.'s seat was up, I think you had 22 people. But you got a crowded cast of candidates that are looking to unseat Lori Lightfoot. Lori Lightfoot, I looked at her when she turned in her petitions. It looks like she turned in a book full of petitions. So the thing about it is, one of these candidates, if no candidate wins more than 50% of the vote, the top two.
50 plus 1%.
Yeah, 50%, 50, you said 50 plus 1?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
That means you got to get over, you can't be 50-50 because, now you have a runoff.
Right, so here it says if no candidate wins more than 50% of the vote, the top two vote getters will do a runoff in the April, Okay.
So I think the runoff, who you think the runoff gonna be? Who you think? I think in the end, I'm gonna have two choices. It'll either be Dr. Wilson and Mayor Lightfoot, or Chewy and Mayor Lightfoot. I don't think the other ones have traction.
So let's talk about this for a minute. Cam Buckner. Who is Cam Buckner?
Cam Buckner is a rising star. He's a representative. He is one of the leaders down in Springfield.
Okay. Frederick Collins. Who is Frederick Collins?
Haven't a clue.
Okay. So I'm just going to read what it says. It says Frederick Collins, he was a police officer. He had 30 years of experience as an officer, says he plans to tackle crime. It would be nice if some of these individuals would come on TN Conversations. I'd love to be able to talk to them. But Frederick Collins, especially with the crime and all of the Safety Act, does that give Frederick Collins possibly a way of galvanizing a base? He was a police officer for 30 years. He was a Chicago police officer for 30 years.
Nobody knows Frederick, and we have a love-hate relationship with the Chicago PD. So
Chewy Garcia. So the Safety Act ain't gonna scare anybody to vote for him. Chewy Garcia. Yeah, we know that he's a congressman. Why? Okay, I'm gonna start there. He's already a congressman. So now he wants to be the mayor of the city. Why go from congressman to mayor?
Because it's stability. Congressman, you're running for that seat every 2 years. Actually, you're running for that seat. So when Congresswoman Kelly got into her seat, she's got like 6 months of just relaxation before she's running again. I mean, that's a grind. You constantly running.
So Chewy Garcia, I guess the one thing that I have to make mention is that he did run before. I think he ran in, what was that, 2015, he ran for mayor. How was his numbers back then? I mean, I wonder if he learned anything from that particular race.
I don't even think he placed.
I don't think he placed either, if I recall, but he did lose against Rahm Emanuel during that 2015 race.
But it's funny how everybody talk about Dr. Wilson's diction and the way he talk, his speech. But
we don't get to Dr. Wilson. Hold on.
But then again, Chewy has the same impediment.
I don't even know what Chewy be talking about. But
right.
So then this is interesting here, because Jamal Green, he is an activist, and I think, didn't he run for mayor before? Did he also run?
First of all, Jamal Green was the first one that threw his hat in the race to run against Mayor Lightfoot. He was in it, saying he was running before anybody else decided that they were going to be a part of the Motley Crew.
Okay, so Jamal Green, I mean, that's interesting, because Jamal Green, I think that he pairs off a little bit better than he did the first time. I think that he ran for mayor in 2019. If I recall, I thought that he was a pretty sharp kid.
Very sharp.
And I don't know if enough people know him, but maybe they need to get to know him. I don't know if he pulls this off. And let me just tell you, I do think that money will definitely play a major role. I know that Lori Lightfoot already is running ads. I've seen the commercials already.
Yeah, but she's struggling. Nobody's throwing money at her. She's struggling.
No. Brandon Johnson. Tell me about Brandon Johnson. What do we know about this? I know that he was supposed to be attacking or doing something to tackle violence in the city, or attacking the root causes of that violence in the city. So Brandon Johnson, who is this young man?
Brilliant, once again.
Well, you got a bunch of brilliant people, Cassandra. You said it yourself. They mentioned brilliant.
Yeah. You get a lot of people a lot of credit.
Yeah, well, Brandon is over there with the unions, and he's backed by the union. So therefore, he's got a grassroots ground game as well.
Okay, so Brandon Johnson says he wants to tackle the violence, right? He wants to tackle the violence. He wants to pass on multi-level dollars, some real estate dollars for various things. So I again, if you guys know any of these candidates, have some of them on. because I don't know. I've never talked. I did talk to Jamal Green. I haven't talked to Brandon Johnson. I don't think I've talked to him, but I'd love to get some of them folks on there. Sophia King. Sophia King. Now, this is interesting. Sophia King says that she's elected. Now, she will said that she will move to fire Chicago police superintendent. So, Sophia King, what do we know about him or her?
I think that if it was between Alderwoman Sophia King and the mayor, I think she would beat her out. If it was them two up for a runoff, she would beat her out.
Okay, is she currently an alderwoman?
Yep.
Okay, so she's in the race. Of course, you got Lori Lightfoot. I'm not gonna read off her bio because we kind of already know that Lori Lightfoot. She is the current sitting mayor, so I hope everybody knows who that. Here is someone that is interesting. Johnny Lagabo. Do we know him? Jen,
no.
Heard of him?
Mm-mm. Do not.
Okay. Said he would focus more on God and love.
On God, G-O-D.
Ain't nothing wrong with the good Lord. So
hey, sometimes you got to just call on Jesus. This should be very interesting because Johnny Lagabo, he says he wants to bring the focus more on God, the people in love. His campaign website is linked to his Facebook page. Johnny Logalbo, that's his name. This is his first time running for office, but he wants to focus on God and
we're gonna put him with Nikolai.
Listen,
Nikolai?
Chicago and Detroit has more churches in it, and there's more centers. He may want to focus on something else. God, forgive me.
Keep hope alive.
No, keep hope alive. How about Roderick Sawyer?
Well, his dad was mayor for a minute when Mayor Harold Washington died. That was his father.
Yeah, his father was Eugene, right? Eugene Sawyer.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. And yes. He was elected to city council in, I think, 2011, right? And I think that's the 6th committee. So he got some cred. He got some street cred, right?
Yep, exactly.
But you're saying not enough.
I'm saying that everybody's going to have a great ground game in order to beat the person behind you outrun the person behind you.
Well, what's interesting about Mr. Sawyer, that he wants to explore reparations. Listen, I talked to Cassandra, Trustee Mance, you may know, but I went to a meeting not too long ago at the downtown at the IML, and one of the people that was one of the guest speakers there was the mayor. Did you see this thing? It was the mayor of Evanston, and he really
Mayor Bliss. Mayor Bliss.
Yeah, Bliss. And let me tell you something. If you don't know Daniel Bliss, you should know him. I think he's a pretty good, a brilliant mayor, and what he's trying to do, I think is very respectable. And I'd love to see him run for governor again. Now, I'm going to go out here before I read the next name, Cassandra, because I know that you're going to throw stones at me. Okay? I know you are, but I just hope that you throw the round ones. This is who I think wins. Paul Valance. I think that he wins this race. I don't know. Now, I know that the dynamics in the city of Chicago, but I think that right now, with all of the violence, the Safety Act, and all these other things, I think that some of these folks of different persuasions are going to look to a Paul Valance. What do you say?
If it's a runoff with Paul Valance and Lori Lightfoot, Mayor Lightfoot, yes, he will win. If it's a runoff between Paul Valance and Chewy, yes, he will win. Now, if it's a runoff between him and Dr. Wilson, Doc's gonna beat him out. I'm calling it.
Justin, what do you got to say to that? Justin? I'll get back to Justin, but I'd like to get another perspective on that. What about you, Jen?
Listen, there's a couple of candidates on here that I think that like it's going to be a tough battle at the end of the day, right? And I'm looking at people like who has the followers and already who's got momentum and stuff like that. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Willie gave away free gas. You know,
when you look at the last race, when you look at, I mean to cut you off, Jen, look at the last race and how Dr. Wilson took all the Black precincts, all of them. He had them all. So he's everywhere. And then we're talking the city of Chicago. We're not talking about Illinois. We're talking about the city of Chicago. So if he holds down his base and then he gets more momentum outside of his base, they can't touch him. They're going to need the Black community to help them, you know, go over the finish line. And Dr. Wilson going to have that on lock.
Yeah, and he just gave away free groceries. You know what I'm saying? So he's giving away stuff. I mean, I don't know.
Does that get people to vote for him? Willie Wilson is the next person that we're talking about. Wealthy businessman. He vows to put the economy on a path to recovery. Okay, get rid of the red light cameras, that would make me sign up immediately, and take the handcuffs off the policemen. What does that mean?
He's pro-police, and so he's running on the same. I mean, they all keep running on the same message, and that's what I'm looking at, right? And there's only like a couple of candidates out here that are going to run on a different message. Sophia King and you probably gonna look at Jamal Green. They're gonna run on a different message. They're gonna run hard left. They're gonna be like more like a Daniel Best, right? So I don't know. That's why I said it depends on what kind of mood Chicago's in, right? Nobody's
Do you think running on taking the handcuffs off the police is a good strategy?
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't think none of this. I mean, Chewy had the same message though. Willie and Chewy got the same message. I mean, that's what I said. It depends on what day it is in Chicago, right? Because no one thought Lori was going to win when she won.
So in 2015, 2019, Willie Wilson finished in 4th place. 2015, he had nearly 11% of the vote in both of those particular races, but he still only fared out in 4th place in both of those races. So those are really kind of your, I guess your top people that are actually running. And when I say
top, listen, we ain't even talked about social media and how Jamal Green got more people on his social media campaign than the mayor.
But does social media work in this regard?
Let me just say this. I think it, and for the larger races, it does, right? Because that means more fundraising. That means more media attention because he has the followers and he doesn't have to pay for it. And so that's a big thing, especially when you start looking at the number of people that he has that's following him. Like I said, you combine his numbers on his personal page with his actual page, he's close to 150,000 people following him. He's 50,000 people over his next person, which is the mayor. And she's mayor and he's not even elected. And so you have to look at that. And I call it the Barack Obama effect because everybody was like, oh, well, he'd only get, yeah, but though that comes to donations, especially like if he runs a campaign, a grassroots fundraising campaign, similar to Bernie Sanders, small dollar donations coming in, he can raise a lot of money quickly and it's not hitting big dollar donation people where you have everybody else fighting over big dollar donation people. So that's going to be a toss up too. Sophia King has the same ability to do the same kind of thing where she can hit small dollar donation people. I know her people on her side that do it. So that's going to be an interesting thing too. And then you got Willie out there that got unlimited amount of money that he just got money to blow. So that's going to be interesting, right? So you have all of that. And so does that knock Chewy out? You know what I mean? Because that taps away from his base. So you got to look at, it's a lot of different things when you're talking about these races. Some of these people going to knock themselves out anyway, because they're going to, what you call it, Adam? What you tell me? Go kiss the ring?
They're going to, yeah. I mean, that's
what you told me, right? They're going to go kiss the ring and they're going to say, okay, well, I'll bag such and such if I can get this position later. Okay. So some of these people.
I'm looking at Sophia King's her Facebook page. She only got 409 people. 409. Who's the other one? Jamal Green?
Jamal Green has 50, he has like 50,000 people on his personal page. And
right,
then
but
he has
Sophia
like
King, she only had, and maybe I got the wrong one. Because I'm looking at Jamal, he only got 108.
No, that's his page. That's his fan page. Then you go to his personal page, he's got like another 50,000 people following him.
Okay. So they got multiple.
He has two separate pages. That's what I'm saying. If you combine his numbers, that's why I say he's like over 150,000 people, which is crazy because he's not even an elected official anywhere.
Right. Cassandra, is your opinion, do you think social media helps you win an election?
That's kind of a toss-up. I don't know. I really don't. I really don't know if social media is really that effective. I don't. Even though people seem to think so, they put a lot of stuff out there. They're hoping people share it. They're hoping people have conversation over it. But does that get people to the polls and vote?
See, I don't think it gets people to the polls and votes, but it like I said, it gets you more money, right? Because more followers means more donations coming in, especially in politics. So he's gonna, even if 10% of his people donated $25, right? That's $25,000 that he can bank on every week compared to these other candidates who have only like 2,000 people following them. You know, that's a game changer. That's what I'm saying. Not the fact that, you know, like, I don't think it's the same thing for me as yard signs, right? You can put up all the yard signs you want to, but yard signs don't vote.
Yeah. I've never, to be honest with you, I've just never found much success. I've never found much success in the social media. It seems like you get the trolls, you know, you make a lot of buzz. It affects your ego, right? If somebody comes on there and they badmouth you in real time, you personalize it, right? I actually almost think that you should stay away from it if you're a candidate. I think that you stay away from social media because it'll drive you absolutely nuts trying to keep up with all of the comments and stuff that people say. Mr. Sawyer, you're on there. How you're running for office? Would you use social media? What are your thoughts? Justin, are you there? Justin is hiding from us today. But
no, my bad. I'm actually cooking. My bad.
Okay. What do you think of social media? Do you think it helps or hurts your campaign?
I mean, it helps. You don't supposed to respond to those that show ignorance.
But isn't it kind of tough? You know what I'm saying?
That's why you tell it to your team. You got to yell it out your team. Your team gonna take it.
Right. Well, I always recommend if you have a team, they should insulate you from that. You shouldn't even see it, right? Because I don't know. Maybe I just wear my feelings on my sleeves, but some of these comments that I see, you know, you want to address them, Jen, right? You want to just, you know, somebody says,
I'm with Justin. I don't address them. I hit the block button to carry on. Like, I don't even have time for it no more. I'm at a point where it's like, I mean, I kind of honestly believe what the old folks say. Why argue with a fool?
Right, but do you miss your opportunity to give people an opportunity to see how you communicate? Is that an opportunity that you shouldn't even be worried about?
No, I mean, like I said, okay, so let me just say this. Let me put my digital expert hat on, right? As a digital expert, what do I do to raise money? I use social media to raise money. I use social media to connect people and to network. I don't use social media to have real conversations, right? This is what platforms like this is for, to have real conversations. And you can do that on social media and stream it live on social media. And you can do it that way. But to go on a page and think you're going to really have a real conversation with some guy in his mama basement, that ain't going to happen. Like, let's just be real about it, right? But to sit down and have dialects like this and then have them stream later where people can come back and pick up information, that's what social media is there for. And if you can tap that properly and do it right, then yeah, you can exploit social media to gain, you know, whatever you need to gain. Like I said, that's how Obama took the presidency. Like, people counted it out and he was the first one to ever use. It's sort of like how Kennedy took the White House using TV. If you use it the right way, you can do it. if you use it the wrong way, it can cause you great harm. That's why I say I usually just hit the block. I don't fight with people like that. I usually just hit the block button. Every once in a while, if I know the people and we're actually having a real conversation, then I'll engage. But on these pages and stuff, like you said, where it's 100,000 people, you don't know who those people are 9 times out of 10.
Right, and a lot of times they're just trolling and poking.
Exactly. So why waste the energy?
Yeah. So if that's the case, then why are so many people kind of pivot towards it? Like, if you know most of the people that are actually going to be voting for you, they're never going to see that stuff on social media. To me, it's disastrous because you end up getting in an argument with somebody, and maybe some of those voters you do know and that like you see a side of you that that is just not going to help you. So my thinking is social media, stay away. Okay, have somebody post feel good things, but in terms of maybe answer some of the inbox questions, but I would stay out of the weeds with social media.
Look, I just had a candidate lose a whole congressional race in Indiana because she went on social media and was cutting up, and you can't do it.
It just not, to me, it's just not worth it. If you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation. We are just shooting the breeze. Today is the last day for those who are running as an established party in your neck of the woods. So if you're in communities such as Dalton, the mayor of Dalton, the town supervisor, put out a video this weekend. I don't know if you got an opportunity to see it. I'm like, she's putting out full-blown videos. Go, girl. It was like a whole spiritual.
Listen, that's not what people are saying, Adam. That's not.
But what are they saying? I thought it was a nice video.
That's not what the people are saying, because the real question that everybody keeps asking, and I mean, I'm laughing at it, and don't get me wrong, I like the feel good videos and stuff like that. The real problem that a lot of people are having right now is they want to know who's paying for all of this stuff. It's not the fact that she's doing it, but where's the money coming from for all this feel good, pushing out free stuff? Because a lot of the money is not being accounted for. And that's the problem with that. And I'm laughing because it's kind of funny. And I mean, I like Tiffany. Don't get me wrong. I like her a lot. But at the end of the day, it's some real people starting to ask, okay, you're giving away all this stuff. You're doing all this stuff. Who's paying for this? And is it coming out of the township, or is it coming out of the Dalton budget? And who approved it?
Well, I was looking at, I guess, and listen, it's a bold new world out here. Hell, I don't even know what the hell is going on. But when I saw the video, and listen, I thought it was well done. I thought it was in good taste. So I thought it was in good taste. I don't know if I felt mayoral vibes. I just felt it's a good video, like a church video or what have you. But then I saw like the public works people in there, and then I saw the police.
That's what people are saying. Who's paying for this? Because now you have government officials, you know what I'm saying, and government employees doing stuff on. Yeah,
it seems like you kind of
exactly.
It's too much. It's too many entanglements. But I thought the video was well done. I don't know, but then again, what is the difference? And so I had to check myself. I had to check myself because what would be the difference in this? And I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago on TikTok or one of those videos that the police departments were doing the margarita or whatever, and they were videoing it. What is the difference?
I don't think for me and my 2 cents, I don't think it's a problem if it was like one video every now and then. The problem is that this is a constant thing that's going on. And so with that being a constant thing that's happening, you have people asking who is paying for this stuff, right? Because it's not just one video. It's not just one police department, one fire department. Okay, it was cute. It was done. I mean, I've seen the nurses do it at the hospitals too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've seen the dentists do it at the hygienists, and that's fine, right? But this is just one video, right? Also, that's private sector stuff too, for the most part. This is on public time, using public dimes, public officials. People are starting to ask questions, and it's no longer fun and cute because it's a constant thing. Like I said, I think if it was just one video, everybody would be like, oh, that's dope, that's cool, it was cute. But when your phone starts blowing up because they like, have you seen? And it's a constant thing, and it's have you seen? it becomes a PR nightmare.
Right. Well, I guess so. I guess.
But Adam, let me just tell you why it's a PR nightmare for it too. You just had that young man at the police station die, and you doing a video of you singing and dancing. It's a freaking PR disaster. Like there's a time and a place for everything too, and that wasn't the time nor the place. So you have to. I mean, I tip my hats off to people like you guys, right? Cassandra, you, Justin, trying to tap his head. Because it's always a PR act. It's always a balancing act from you guys, right? Of what can I do to push that threshold to get people involved, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying, still maintain that level of respect. And right now, I think that's what Tiffany is fighting, is that she doesn't have that balance that she needs, and she needs to find it really, really quickly, because it's gonna come back.
But are we? And I guess I'm just begging the question, right? Are we? Is it because it's, all of the controversy? Are we just, if it was mayor of Park Forest doing this, would we have an issue?
I don't think you would have an issue with him doing it. John, right? That's John.
Yeah, whatever his name is. I mean, John. I'm just saying if it was
I don't think listen, if you or Cassandra did it, I don't think it would be an issue, right? But you haven't had a Black girl that got killed by your police. Now you have some young man that got killed. You didn't have some guy that got killed in a basketball court recently. These are real things that are happening in the Southland area, right? And so people are starting, and not just Tiffany, but across the area, people are like, what are these elected officials doing? You got gun violence, you got people getting robbed. I mean, even from that car accident that happened on 87 in Cottage Grove, they were saying the car got stolen from Markham. That's where that car came from. So this is what I'm saying. And so now you have an official that has been at the top of all of this controversy and all this stuff that's going on. And now she's releasing all these videos and having all these parties, and no one's addressing the real issues. We got some real economic challenges going on in the Southland area. Right. And we can keep talking about jobs and all this other stuff. And Adam, we've had this conversation plenty of times. We can keep talking about bringing all this stuff. And yeah, we got Amazon and Pete's Grocery Store and all this other stuff. But when are we going to get some real jobs in the Southland area? When are we going to bring back real jobs? Harvey used to be a real job hub.
Exactly.
That's why Harvey fell down. That's why crime rate is skyrocketing. We don't have any real, and that's not to knock Walmart and Amazon and Target and all those other big box store places, but we really need some real jobs out here.
Well, so what's going crazy? I mean, do we have a group of candidates? I mean, have we heard? So we're going to shift a little bit. If you just joined in, welcome to Tea and Conversation. This is with Trustee Adam Winston. We're just having candid conversation. The next big place from the city of Chicago, we just talked about Dalton. What about Harvey, right? Harvey has, I think it's a mayoral election coming up too.
They do.
What's going on in Harvey? Who's running? Do we know who's running? I know I heard McCassell, right? I know the current mayor is probably going to run again. Clark, and I heard that there's one other young man.
Marshawn is running.
Marshawn. Is this race that we should be watching, or should we just expect? Or should we just expect Clark to win?
Again, Harvey's like Chicago.
Let me ask you, Tim, Cassandra, what's the benefit? Should we even care about the Harvey race?
Absolutely. Harvey is the gateway to the Southland. You got to hit Harvey before you can come into all the rest of the areas. Harvey, like you said before, was the job hub. You had freight, you had railroad. Harvey was the Mecca, so I look at it this way. I think Mayor Clark is doing some things to turn Harvey around. And what is it that the new people are going to come in that's going to be able to jump right in and do different, right? So if he's already got initiatives going, will they come in and not continue those initiatives because he had his stamp on it? Or will they continue it and, bring Harvey back to revitalize Harvey? They got about 25 homes in Harvey that are dormant, that's off the tax roll. I know they're trying to get those back up and fixed up, and a program to put residents in those homes and help them keep the homes by teaching them, how to, be responsible with having the responsibility of a home. So I don't know. I don't know. It's we're just gonna have to wait and see what the candidates are going to talk about, how they can bring Harvey back. We all should be concerned with it. I'm concerned with it.
And you know what? And Trustee Matz, I agree. And I guess that's the reason why I'm asking this question. Are we paying attention enough, right? And I just think that in these local elections in places like Harvey and Dalton, we all are kind of in our little respective corners. We don't pay attention, right? And because we got this mindset, it doesn't affect us. It has nothing to do with Glenwood. It has nothing to do with Lansing. It has nothing to do with Linwood. We look at it through that bubble, and isn't that the danger, right? That we are not paying attention to what's going on in these communities. Jen, you just mentioned a couple of people that died in Dalton. I don't even know if the public is even aware of many of these things that are taking place. And is that the issue? I mean, how do we get more people in the know about what's happening in these particular towns? If it wasn't for shows like this and just having these little casual conversations, and even us, we kind of getting the crumbs. We're not getting the B&B, the bread and butter of the topics. How do we get much more awareness about things that are going on in these areas?
I don't know. That's why I started the Southland Leaders page, where I just post like everything that's going on in Southland, so it's not focused on one city. Because for me, like, I keep saying this, but like, if we're not paying attention, like, the Southland area is one part of the whole Chicagoland area, right? And really, the issue is, it's not just here. It's the whole entire Chicagoland area that's like under attack. Now, a lot of the stuff is coming out of the Southland area because this tends to be poor people down this way. But don't get it twisted. They out there robbing. What did I see? I think it was Wheaton or something like that. They people from Milwaukee came down because Milwaukee's only an hour and a half away from Chicago. So they came down to rob them too. This is the whole, just, I don't know, systematic issue that we have in this area, that if we don't wake up and, like you said, pay attention to, hey, what's going on in this community, there's no more borders before. Because, like, I remember when I was a kid, right? Everything was in the city for the most part. All the quote unquote bad things were happening in the city. It wasn't a problem, right? And then Harvey was like a little bit bad, and Markham was like, okay, it was a little bit. But then once you left past Markham and you got to Hazelcrest, it was suburban heaven, right? It was like, you don't have to worry about anything. You can leave your bikes outside. You can do whatever. Okay, now fast forward 25 years later. You can't do that no more. It's no more borderlines. It's no more stoppage. And on top of that, I was laughing because me and my husband were talking about white flight. White people can't run nowhere no more.
Yeah.
There's no place to run anymore. There's nothing. So either you're gonna have to do something about it and fix it and solve these issues, or it's just gonna engulf all of us. Another thing I want to add, it's not like this everywhere. As I travel the country and go other places, I've learned that it's not like this everywhere. And there have been plans in places that have had issues. Your hometown, Detroit, they had issues and they fixed them, but they resolved them economically, right? Because they realized we're not going to get the guns from these people and we can't build enough community centers in the world. But what we could do is offer them jobs to get them off the streets, to give them something else to do and pay them really well. And that tends to work. So I'm like, that's what I'm on right now, is let's give people better jobs and see what that does.
So do you still think what's your feelings about this community center being built over in Hazelcrest?
It's a Black, so let me just say this, the team that's leading it is majority Black males. And the idea is to pretty much restart a Black Wall Street in the Southland, right? And it's sort of what they did in Atlanta. And I'm for it. I want to see where it goes. I know people are complaining about traffic and, all this other stuff, but my whole thing is don't live in the Chicagoland area if you don't like traffic. It's traffic all over here.
Right.
That's just what we signed up for, to live in this this lovely area that we call home. The things that they're putting in there are things that we desperately need, right? A state-of-the-art sports facility for these young kids to have when they play these football games and these basketball games, right? A state-of-the-art theater. And I'm talking about like a real theater, not like, a movie theater, a real theater. So you can do plays and productions. So a sort of like a Broadway in the Southland area. Aquaponic centers, that kind of stuff. These are things that we need. Solar energy jobs for solar panels and manufactured homes, which, the tiny home movement is big right now. So that provides a lucrative opportunities for people. This is just some of the stuff that they're talking about.
Right, but Jenny, let me ask you, is this just, because I mean, as a minority, sometimes I just often think that they always tell us it's going to save us. The marijuana was going to save us. The lottery was going to save us. This is another one of these things that they're telling us is going to save our Southland.
But they never said this was going to save us. What they did say it was going to provide job opportunities.
They said that about the marijuana. Has marijuana?
The marijuana could provide job opportunities, but who got the license? But who got the license for it? It wasn't us. It wasn't people that look like us on this call. It wasn't. That's the problem, right? That wasn't us. The reason why Black Wall Street was so successful is because the amount of times the Black dollar circulated in that community. The reason why the Jewish community is still successful now is because the number of times that their dollar circulates in their community. Our dollar right now is circulating in the Black community, maybe at best, I would say 7 times, and that's the best. When we had Black Wall Street, that dollar circulated around 20 times. That's what makes our community successful, is when your dollar can circulate that many times around your community before it leaves your community. And that's why I say a lot of this stuff is just an economic thing, because again, I don't see them shooting up Munster. I don't see it. They're not going to. Why? Because the dollar in Munster circulating like 15 times before it leaves Munster. They're shopping locally. And Adam, that's why I shout out to you all the time, because what did you say? You like, Jen, instead of going to Indiana, spend it here in Illinois because we need the money back in our communities. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We do need it back in our communities. The unfortunate thing about your statement is I don't have a place to circulate it back in our communities. There's only so many places I can shop locally before I have to go out of the city to go do it. So if we can bring that back, so just to the Southland area, period, and have that hub where the dollars circulate.
But how do we, Justin, how do we make certain, okay, we know that they've sold a bill of goods on the marijuana. They sold us a bill of goods on the lottery. How do we make certain that when these businesses are telling us that they're going to be circulating and making more jobs, so this happens in our area? How do we make certain that these things happen?
How we make some of these things happen?
Now, how do we make certain that they do really actually happen and they're not just giving us lip service?
Elect me, and I got a bill that I'm fighting for. 3088, serializing ammunition. Okay. And 2% will come back to the communities, not from the taxpayer dollars, but it'll come back from the manufacturers.
Okay.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's one good initiative right there, right? We just need a bunch more.
Okay. And so Jen, with this particular plant, this particular, what do we want to call this over in Hazel Crest? I'm not going to say.
So it's called an economic development hub, right? And so the hub, as for short, the hub, what could it do? Here's the thing about the aquaponics, right? That's the dopest thing. When you flush the toilet, it usually goes where? To the sewage, right?
Yeah.
When you flush and you have an aquaponics center, guess where the waste goes? To the trees, so they can absorb it. Right. So the paper and stuff gets separated out in a system, and then the paper goes one way to the normal waste cycle in place, right? But then the wastewater gets circulated back into the trees. The trees absorb it and grow fruits and vegetables out of it. This is the natural way things are supposed to happen anyway, right? So this is what happens in nature. So this is a thing that we can actually see becoming the future. And this is how stuff is supposed to be. We keep complaining about pollutants and stuff like that. That building is going to be built in accordance with the Paris Agreement. The trucks that are going to come out of there, because of California and their laws that they're passing out in California, almost all the trucks in America by the year 2030 are going to be e-trucks anyway, because California's outlawing them in California. So we don't have to worry about. That's why I was laughing when they were talking about a truck stop. I'm like, what truck stop? It's gonna be Elon Musk Tesla centers everywhere. You're gonna have to plug your truck in, you know what I'm saying, and to drive it like that anyway. So like this is no longer like, hey, Star Trek and Star Wars, a futuristic thing. This is real. This is now. These things, you know what I mean? They're talking about, oh, well, we don't want this to run. That center is gonna run mostly on solar energy. It's gonna be one of the greenest places in the country. And it's going to be here in the Southland. Guess what that also does when you have something that green and that innovative? Guess what that does? And Adam, you already know as a business owner, what happens?
Well, you would hope that it's just a trickle down. You hope that everybody else benefits off of it. But I'm looking at...
But Adam, also the other thing that happens is, guess what? Adam, you see this economic hub in the Southland? Let's go check it out, because we probably want to build one, guess what? Up north. Or we might want to build one in Michigan. So let's go see what they're doing and see if we can make it. And so now you have, guess what, people coming in just to visit this place to check it out. And so it could be that, you know, but we have to have the vision to see the future. And I don't know if the Southland has the vision to see the future, if this is the right place to do it in. But like I said, I don't want to give up on my people. So I want to keep fighting and try to push us towards the future if I could. And like I said, I would like to see what happens. You know, like I said, this is the first time a group of Black men and women have come together and said, let's do something like this using Black dollars and see what happens. And this ain't the marijuana or lotto thing, because that wasn't done by Black folks. That was done by the other folks that told us they was going to help us. This is actually being done by us, saying, let's see what happens when we do something. And I figured, why not give my people a chance?
Well, a lot going on. Again, if you are running for office, today is the last day for petition turn-in, if you are running as an established party. So not if you are running as a little independent person in some of these communities, that's next month. But right now, if you're running as an established party, today, as of 5 o'clock was your last day for turn-in, the turn-in period. So it'd be interesting to see who's running in your neck of the woods. Jen, any surprises out there where you are? Anybody running for office that you are? I know Lansing is a real, we don't talk about Lansing that much, right? But I think you guys just elected the first African-American female to serve on the board, I think at the last election. 2 people running for office over in Lansing?
I'm moving.
So you don't know, is what you're saying?
Because I'm moving. So I'm in the process of moving right now. So I will be in unincorporated Cook County. So I won't have a municipality.
Well, you'll have Cook County.
Well, I have Cook County now. So because I live in Cook County now, but unincorporated Cook County, you know, we don't have a municipality. So let me just tell you, I got 4 different addresses.
Who puts it out?
Oh, in my neighborhood. Listen, to be honest with you, I stay right around the corner from where I live at from the fire department. So I'm pretty sure they'll ride around the corner to put my fire out.
Okay, because unincorporated, you don't have a fire department.
Yeah, we still got the first responders laws and stuff like that, you know, they have to respond. It's just, you know, it is what it is. But I mean, I don't know. I stay around the corner from the hospital in Dyer. So I'm right there by the Dyer Hospital. I probably can get whoever to the hospital, or we can get whoever to the hospital faster than the ambulance can come and take us to the hospital anyway, being that close.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, that was one of the pluses of moving over there, was that like I'm on that borderline. But no, I don't vote. I mean, I haven't paid attention to what was going on in Lansing because I'm moving. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, some of us are stuck right here in our respective quarters, and I am grateful for it. Hey, Trustee Mance, any last words before we check out?
Did we talk about the young lady that was killed in Cabo, how they have put a warrant out for the arrest of the assailants who thought they
Well,
got away with them.
Who put a warrant out for them? Weren't they in Mexico?
Yeah, Mexico wants them extradited back to Mexico. They're charging them.
And how does that work?
I have no idea, but I'm just
The
glad
FBI 's
that
involved.
it's put out there.
Oh, they have, because I'm like,
Yeah.
all they have to do is just never go back to Mexico, right?
No, we have an extradition treaty with them. See, that's the thing. If you're gonna commit a crime, you need to commit a crime that we don't have an extradition treaty with them. We have an extradition treaty with Mexico, and also Mexico doesn't do the death penalty anyway. So America, like if they stay here, they might get served. Depending on what state they from, they might get served the death penalty. So
well, let me
that's
ask you: didn't Mexico originally? Did they even consider it a murder?
They didn't originally, but all of the information that they've gotten so far from here, I don't know if they've been looking at our news or whatever, but
that's so interesting, because you would think that that they would have done an investigation. And so are they, at this particular point, and I guess if I would be very nervous if I were the people that they want brought back, because obviously they don't follow details. So they'll probably just do something that's because it's that I don't know. That makes me nervous, okay, with them. Declaring it initially an accident, and then all of a sudden now.
Due to pressure do it to you.
Well, I think we should be watching that. We should be really watching that very closely, because what happened to that young lady is absolutely an atrocity. I don't know how that happens. I think that was her first day. She had just arrived, if I understand the story correctly. Was that her first day? They hadn't even been there but an hour.
Yeah, they were there. Yep, exactly. I know how it happened. Well, I mean, it almost happened to me, so I know exactly how it happened.
Lord have mercy. Listen, I that is so much to say with that. Say on that. I don't even know where to start, but. I hope that young lady, she deserves some justice, and I hope that she finds it and her family finds it. But it is just way too much going on in our own country. I don't know why somebody would try that. And what it looked like, it was, I don't know. Did you know if that person that was slinging her around by her hair, was that a guy?
That was a girl.
Girl, she was fighting a girl, and the guy was filming it. You watched the video? But
the person who was swinging her around looked like a guy.
No, well, that was a girl.
Was it a
no? Adam, no, it was a girl. She was a girl, and it was a girl.
The girl was strong. I ain't never seen a girl that damn strong.
Well, she wasn't a big girl. She was thin.
Yeah.
And then too, she wasn't fighting back. There was no resistance. You can do some damage to somebody who's not fighting back.
I don't know why she didn't swing.
Well, if she had swung on him, she knew everybody would have jumped in. When you got everybody standing around cheering as if it's a real boxing match, she was going to get beat up anyway. She just figured that if she just relent and don't do anything, the girl would get tired of getting her and leave her alone. But she didn't understand that they were there to kill her. Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, it absolutely breaks my heart. On another note, I do know, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news. They said almost $9 billion was spent between Thanksgiving Eve and Black Friday over the weekend. I know Aurora had to shut their balls down. I don't know if you heard this too, but they had to shut them down because of it was just too many people. It was against the fire regulation.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, who are these people? I mean, I guess nobody's listening to Jeff Bezos. He said, don't buy nothing. Okay. Right. He's like, you need to save your money, because right now he feels like the economy is going in the wrong direction, and that you should save your money. I don't think anybody listened.
No.
Not over this weekend. People just.
And what are they getting that night? They can't get Christmas Eve, where the prices will be 80% off. That's when you do all your buying.
Well, I think that the people right now, I think that the people bought all that stuff And then I hear that the train engineers are talking about going back on strike. So this should be an interesting holiday season for those of us that are paying attention. It seems like a hot mess.
Until they federalize the trains, like they was trying to do the trucks. They ain't finna let the trains go. You can't, let me tell you two things that can't ever go on strike. Well, three. First responders, the trains, and trucks. That'll cause all kind of crisis because that's medicine, and the federal government is not going. Yeah, they're not going to.
Well, it looks like they're talking about a strike again on the trains.
They can talk about it until, like I said, until Biden and them federalize the trains and have the military come in, and guess what? Okay, y'all on strike. We'll keep moving the goods. He has the power to do that.
Yeah, especially.
Well, people have to remember that the trains are not owned, you know what I'm saying, like that. These are actually the people's, they're public. So until he gets pissed and says, okay, I'm federalizing it, and then then everybody's gonna be moping around. Like we got union contracts and y'all, he gonna be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because like I said, as soon as you see a grandma sick because she don't have her diabetes medicine because the train is stuck outside of Boston somewhere instead of coming. Yeah. To wherever it needs to go to in New Orleans somewhere, it's gonna be, we gonna federalize it.
So you think that is what's gonna happen? It's gonna become federalized.
If they go on strike, I can almost guarantee. Do you remember that? Were you here? You should have been here when they had. Remember, Cassandra, when the garbage people tried to go on strike like that for a long period of time?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and they was talking about federalizing and having the troops come in and move the garbage because certain things they just not gonna let happen because it'll destroy America. And not having medicine and food on the shelves is definitely a good way to make sure America goes into total chaos.
Right. Wow.
Do anybody watch Game of Thrones? Somebody told me to watch Game of Thrones, and I binge watched it last night because they said it has a lot to do with the way politics are ran today. I don't see it. I'm on episode 6, and I'm still confused. I mean,
you're on episode 6.
Yeah, no, you got to get to the next couple. Get some more seasons going.
You got to get through season 6. Okay.
I don't.
Well, listen. You have to watch it in its entirety. I can't believe we're just now talking about this because the average person in Game of Thrones now we're on to House of Dragons and other stuff. But
I'm not gonna make it. Because
listen.
And it is ridiculous.
I think.
Let me just tell you, Cassandra, don't watch. What's that one on Netflix with Kevin? And he was doing all the other ones in DC, and he was the speaker of the House.
With Kevin Spacey?
Yeah.
House of Cards, House of
Cards. That's the one that don't watch House of Cards if you don't like Games of Thrones, because House of Cards is the one that have you. That's real politics right there in America.
Right, but I do think that if you look at Games of Thrones, I mean, this is my personal take. Don't get lost. It really is. All of these are political gamesmanship. And I think that it teaches you that you can fall in a lot of different traps at a lot of different times. You find yourself having your head on a spike. So I think it's a good show. I've watched all of the seasons, and I think they get better as you.
Y'all ruined my show. That used to be my favorite show, and then y'all ruined it because y'all started talking about it, and then a whole bunch of people didn't understand what was going on. And I just
what's that? Which one? The Game of Thrones?
Yeah, Games of Thrones. Y'all on Facebook, and y'all didn't understand what was going on, and I was just like.
Listen, I love the show, so I personally watched it, but that was like 5 years ago. I think the season was over, Cassandra. But
yeah, you all can have it. I can't with that. I'm gonna go back to Veep. Veep is more like my.
Veep is the Veep is really really good, and it's in smaller bites. It's in a half an hour segment, so you know.
It's in a half an hour segment, but it's also funny as hell.
Yeah.
She cut everybody's head off. So
I can totally listen. I could Trustee Matts. I can totally see Louis. What's her name? Miss Dreyfus.
Julie Louis Dreyfus.
Yeah, you could play that role relatively well. I'm just okay, guys. It is 8:10. It's been a real on TN conversation. We will be getting back to our regular scheduled show as of next week. I know that with the holiday season, there's going to be surprises. There's going to be people coming in. There's going to be people coming out. Generally, during the month of December, I got to tell my son's birthday today. Happy birthday, son. But generally, during the month of December, I don't even know. You know what? I was just thinking, I got to pivot for a minute. Why is there school after Thanksgiving, right? These kids don't be doing jack till January 1st. They should just close the damn school.
I said the same thing.
They don't do nothing between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I just think it's a waste of time, and they could save a whole lot of money.
They can't save a whole lot of money because the days that they're in school that's predicated on the monies that they get. So they have to show up to school.
But
what
if they just push the school year further into the summer?
No, they just need to go to a block scheduling like Europe does, right? And they need to get like, instead of having a whole, and this goes to what you just said, Adam, right? Instead of having, almost 3 months off in the summer, only have a month and a half off, and then use those other days to have this time off from this. It's a month and a half and a month and a half. So that way it's broken up twice a year.
Yeah, because it just seems they really, and as a parent, I just want the kids out the house. I really don't give a damn whether they do anything. But I'm saying trustee Match, they don't do nothing between Thanksgiving. It's like summer school. If you
I know.
If you paying for your kid to go to summer school, you just paying for an A, because they don't learn nothing in summer school. They just go. As long as they go, they get the grade. Long as they go.
Yeah, yep. But like she said, the system is based on the fact that, what are we paying, like $20,000 a kid per head?
Yeah, but you could stretch that out though. You just close the school. You would save on energy bills. You would save on maintenance. You would just stretch it out. You would give them that time out between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then you would just, like you said, you would just make it up other times of the year.
That's what Europe does. Europe has they do block school schedule. I never understood why we have to be in school this long anyway. It don't serve no purpose for nobody.
Yeah, and it would break it up where maybe the kids wouldn't get so restless with it. I don't know, but it's no sense in them just going. And they really, my thoughts are they're not doing anything. Sorry, schools, but you're really not doing anything. Showing Christmas Carol movies, they're really not doing anything. And I pay all that our educators are doing, but between the month of November, the end of November through January 1st, they're not doing nothing.
Well, I suggest that we take all of this observation and put it in the school suggestion box and see what they do with it.
This is Department of Education. We can't change this. It's federal.
No. Listen, trustee Match, it's going to be.
I was being flippant.
Yeah,
I wish we could, because that'd be lit.
Yeah, it's going to become toilet paper. There's no sense in us arguing this fight, but that's just my thought. Again, this has been real. If you haven't joined me on YouTube, please subscribe. Until next week, guys, have a very good rest of the week.
Bye.